Hi, I'm Larry Bauer, Chief Executive Officer of the Family Medicine Education Consortium, and we are very excited to be working with Dr. Wayne Jonas and the Sam Wetley Institute team to launch this learning collaborative. I do want everybody to know we are recording this session, so we'll be able to, there are some people who on your team who maybe couldn't be a part of this particular call, but we'll be able to share the link with you and you can help them out. We've still got some more people joining.
Rushing.
So let me introduce Dr. Wayne Jonas, who is the leader of this safari trip of ours. And Wayne, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you. And again, I'll repeat, would you everybody please mute for right now so we don't hear your background noise. And I think Denise, who's managing the technology here and a number of other things, might go in and mute you if you don't on yourself, and then we'll let you all talk. So welcome everybody, and let me just say congratulations on being accepted to join the Learning Collaborative for Integrative Health. We had a lot of applications. We have a tremendous group that has joined from around the country, variety of types of practices, which is exactly what you want in a learning collaborative. Family medicine, many of them with residents and residencies, many of them without that, a number of FQHCs and clinics, a number of folks who are already doing integrative health in some way or fashion, and others who are just starting. And so that makes for a great opportunity to really learn and to advance what you're trying to do in this important area. On top of that, we have an outstanding faculty and staff, and we're gonna be introducing them to you as we go through this particular onboarding group, and let them wave and see who you are, so that you get to know who they are, so that you can get the most out of this effort. So before I begin that, just want to make sure everybody can hear me all right and see me all right, and do a little bit of etiquette. So it's very easy on Zoom and other things to do hand signals. So if you can hear me, thumb up. There we go. If you can't hear me, thumb down or point to your ear. And if I get frozen, I'll notice that, hopefully, and pause. Usually things restart within a few seconds on those areas. All of you are probably familiar with this, but let me just put it out there. There is a chat box, and I notice there's a couple things already in the chat box. Jennifer Dorr from our side has already put something in, as has Andrea. And the chat box is going to be monitored by Denise, who will introduce you to her in a minute. I'll check it every once in a while myself. And if you have particular things that there's not a lot of space to say them verbally, but you want to have them addressed, or like them have them addressed, then put them in the chat box. And in addition, we're going to be pointing you to a number of resources and access components, and as we do that, Denise and Jennifer and others will actually insert the direct links into the chat box. And so just keep an eye on that periodically as we go through this. This is a very busy session, because we're trying to get everybody on board, get them oriented, make sure that they understand their goals, and get to know all of you. We've got 17 centers and 2 auditors that are part of this, and that's a lot. It's difficult in a single session to get to know everybody, but we are going to give you a chance, in a little bit to both introduce yourself and talk about your clinic a bit and what your goals are for the Learning Collaborative after we've introduced you to the others and to the resources. And then there will be an opportunity, not at this session, but then in all the sessions going forward, to work in small groups. And in the small groups is where a lot of the detailed information exchange and learning will occur. And then we'll bring that back to the larger group to expand those tools. So, everybody hear me still? Okay, great. What I would like to do to sort of get us on board, all of you, because you applied and indicated what you wanted to do and what you were already doing in this area, all of you already have a basic idea of what this is about. But what I'd like to do is just do a very brief introduction as to why and what integrative medicine is, or integrative health is, and why it is so important. Now, in the acceptance letter, we did send you a link to a lecture, a 33-minute lecture that I give that go into the details of this. And so hopefully you all have been able to view that. If not, we'll show you the link again later on this afternoon, and then you can do it in between meetings. We'll be doing a lot of the didactic work and the information sort of downloads basic aspect offline, online, but off session in a flipped sort of classroom type of an approach. And that means that we're going to ask you to do some homework in between, and we'll ask you to, to come prepared so that all the clinics can get the most out of the experience in those areas. And we'll show you some of those things. I'll show you where you get those resources so that if you forget them, you can find them and this type of thing in those areas. So let me just start by making sure we're all on the same page with why this is important. And it's actually pretty simple. Before I do that, here's the agenda for today. I've already talked about a little bit of that. Welcome and introductions, and talk a little bit about the goals. We'll review the calendar and the dates. I'll introduce you to the faculty, staff, and some of the clinics. Then we'll give an introduction. Denise will give an introduction to the portal and show you how to navigate that portal and access the resources, and also how they're organized, so you know when things are going to come up, which ones you go to. We'll then start to get a sense of the needs and the direction and the current capabilities of all the clinics through some poll questions in the collaborative. And then we'll have an opportunity where each of you can briefly introduce yourself, and we would ask that one lead from each clinic do that introduction and talk about their goals for the collaborative. And then we'll show you some homework and next meeting times and links in those areas where some of the initial resources are. So that's the goal for this meeting. So let's start with number one here. The reason integrative health, and I'll show you how we conceptualize it and define it here in a minute. The reason that integrative health is so important, and in the pandemic, it has been demonstrated and it has been highlighted to be even more important, is because health actually does not come from a lot of what goes on in the way we deliver healthcare today. Multiple data sets, and again, if you look at my lecture online, you'll see the resources and a summary of some of those. But we now know that healthcare as it's currently practiced, a lot of the pills and procedures of medical care only produce about 15 to 20% of a population's health and of an individual's health. And that's because the majority of the health determinants, and I'm going to talk about health determinants and healing determinants, come from outside of that medical encounter and the medical services that are being delivered. They come from behavior and lifestyle, and from the social and an economic environment, the so-called social determinants, of health in those areas. And so if healthcare is going to be part of the solution for creating health, rather than increasingly the problem for increasing costs, we have to get out of this top box and begin to be effective in helping people access those underlying determinants of health and healing in these other major areas. So we define integrative health as the process for doing that. And here's a little illustration of what we mean by that. It is the merger of three areas. Conventional care, which is what you get routinely now when you walk into a clinic, what you get trained for, what you and I learned in medical school and residency. Evidence-based complementary approaches, or sometimes now called non-drug approaches, and then behavior and lifestyle or self-care components. It's this merger. All of that, of course, can only be done within the context of the personal and social environment in which the person lives. And so if that sweet spot of integrative health in the center of these overlapping circles is to be expanded, which is the goal of this collaborative, then these external and contextual issues also have to be addressed. And so fundamentally what the goal is in your clinic or in your environment is to find a place where that little red spot it needs to be expanded. Now, I know many of you already do many of these things, and that's fantastic. That's why you've joined, and that's why we're going to learn from each other, actually. Many of you are doing many of these things. The goal of this collaborative is to expand that into areas where right now it's not easily accessible and where you can make it routine and regular. And so to put it in a nutshell, the overall goal of working in this area is to make integrative health, as I've currently defined it, routine and regular. And the way we're going to do that is that each of you will have the opportunity to implement integrative health in a section that perhaps does not yet have it, or that you would like to expand it into. Or if you currently do it within an area of your clinic, but it's difficult, it's awkward, it's hard to do, it can't be reimbursed, then to streamline that so that it becomes easy to do for ongoing use. The second thing that we want you to do during this time is to evaluate it using at least practice evaluation and quality improvement assessment to see if this improves, and it can be used to improve your overall clinical impact, delivery, and outcomes. So these are the key goals and aims of why we are gathered for this collaborative. Now, I think all of you have seen this list of objectives. If you came to one of the Q&A sessions ahead of time, or if you got the acceptance letter, we listed these. This is just a little bit more detail of what those aims are. We hope that by the end of this collaborative, you'll understand the crucial role of non-pharmacological and self-care for reducing risk factors, and increasingly now in a peri-COVID age. I know some of the clinics are going to be doing that in post-COVID clinics. To learn some sets of tools, these are process tools. We call them collectively the Hope Note tools, and I'll show you what that is. And build up the resources and services to make it easier to do. So learn some of those tools and adapt them to your clinics. You'll be building your own customization of these tools and resources in your own clinics. Then implement it in the test areas that you'd like to look at with a subgroup of patients and providers. Collect some process, and we hope outcomes data on that. And we'll talk a little bit about that so that we can look at improving the practice and the quality of care. And then at the end, pull all of that together and begin to be able to report out, not only during the collaborative, but at the end in a formal way. I know many of you are part of residencies and have residents that are participating in this collaborative. And so these are scholarly activities that can be reported out in various kinds of primary care meetings or other meetings after the end. And of course, Larry, running FMEC, hopes you will report it out there. And so these are the key objectives. What are the commitments? You've seen this also because this was part of what was required before you applied. Obviously, some time and some staff are needed. There's no charge for the collaborative, but you do need to dedicate some resources to make it happen. To attend all of the all of the meetings, which will be virtual, to develop and implement some integrative visits as we've discussed them in the area that you want to make them more routine or expand them, to collect some data, to present the results to the group, and of course to have fun and to learn from each other, both in the large group and in the small group. There's one additional requirement that we have, and Denise is going to send this out to all of you. And we would like you all to sign what we call a Creative Commons agreement. And this is basically an agreement that the information that you obtain during this collaborative, and there's a lot of it, as you'll see, that's available, and the information that you might put yourself to make available to others is shareable by everybody. We want this to be, not something that is proprietary, not something that people are charging for. We want to make these resources available. And the Creative Commons agreement just says that you agree to share those freely, to maintain information about where they came from. So if a clinic has developed a particular thing, that attribution is given for the resources in these areas. Again, with the goal of spreading it beyond just this collaborative, but making it available to others. Let's see now. Okay. I want to talk briefly about data collection, and I'm going to pause here in a minute and let people have questions. So if you have questions, again, put them in the chat box, or you have a chance to ask them. I want to talk a little bit about data collection, because both during the preparation, the Q&A phase, and since then, there's a lot of questions about what kind of data should we be collecting and what kind of approvals, such as IRB approvals, might be required. So there's two different types of evaluation that we're hoping that you'll do. One that you ought to be able to do easily, and one of our faculty members is an expert in that, and we're going to have a whole session on that. It's practice improvement or quality improvement data. And this is just about how things work in your clinic. It's something that you do every day. Hopefully all of your clinics are doing this on a regular basis for new things that they want to do. Generally, this type of information doesn't require IRB approval, and it also can be used to get credit for practice improvement or mock credits if you're in family medicine, and other credits showing practice improvement. In the blue in this list are some examples of data collection that fit into that category, and Dr. Shaughnessy will be talking about that. We hope that many of you will also try to look at the impact on patients. After all, we're in the business to try to improve patients' health and well-being, and so the two orange outcomes down at the bottom, the Promise 10 and the Healthy Days, are patient assessments that you have to ask patients to actually fill out. That often does require IRB approval. In order to do that, it very often gets exempt because it's low risk, but it still has to be submitted to the IRB even for the exemption locally. If we find that most of the clinics would like to do this, and we're hoping they do, then we will assist certainly in the practice improvement. You'll see that, and we will also assist in obtaining IRB approval. You have to do it locally, but we will put together sort of an umbrella IRB if the majority of clinics would like to also collect patient outcome data in those areas. Like the Western IRB or some nationally recognized IRB that you can utilize to help facilitate your local IRB in those areas. I mentioned that we have a great faculty and staff, and I would like them to introduce themselves briefly. Now we have an incredible group that has come together to make this available, and I think with you all sharing and joining this, we're going to have a rich learning experience. I like to, first of all, for those who are on here on the staff, I'd like you to briefly just introduce yourself. Hopefully your screen will pop up and they'll get to see your face. Um, and then we'll move on to the faculty who you're going to have most of or detailed and small group interactions with. So I'm Wayne Jonas. I run the Samueli Integrative Health Programs. It's part of a foundation effort by Susan and Henry Samueli out in Orange County, California. And I oversee all of their health philanthropy, and I also run the integrative health component. So they are especially interested in spreading integrative health. And they are working closely with the University of California, Irvine, who is one of our clinic members here, as well as then supporting me and my team to help make this kind of activity available freely to everyone. My background, very briefly, is I have a long history in this area. Ran the Office of Alternative Medicine at the NIH, ran a research organization that did research on these areas, and I see patients now every week in 2 clinics within a military setting, a chronic pain clinic and a general internal medicine clinic where we do integrative care. Larry Bauer has welcomed you all, but Larry, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling a little bit about your background and role.
So, Larry Bauer, social worker by training, CEO of the Family Medicine Education Consortium, and I was the behavioral person at Penn State Hershey for 13 years, then moved on to Ohio State, then Wright State, and then founded the FMEC. And we're excited. This has been a good while in the making. Very excited that, that this is happening. And I think that's about enough about me for right now.
Thank you, Larry. Denise, would you show yourself and introduce people? You have already received information from Denise. Denise is the primary contact for managing this process and the information and clarification. You'll be hearing from her in a minute about how to access that information. But Denise, would you just say hi to everybody and tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, everyone. So I've actually been working for the FMEC with Larry for the last 7 years. And my main roles are to manage the online registration for the annual meeting, and I also manage the membership database. But with this project, I'm going to be the main contact for information. So I know you've seen my name for the application, and I think you'll continue to see my name, for as other tasks are assigned. So, but happy to be here and work with everyone.
Thank you, Denise. And as you'll see, she's the sort of the go-to person in terms of keeping you organized and keeping you on track here. I'm not sure if Jennifer Dorr is available. She usually has a standing responsibility at noon. Jennifer, are you still
here?
Oh, good. If you could introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Jennifer Dorr. I've worked with Dr. Jonas since 2012, first starting at Samueli Institute and now as part of Samueli Integrative Health Programs, where I manage his communications platform. And so in this, for this project, I'll be working on all the content that is put out. So working with the faculty and working with you as well. So looking forward to the project.
Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer is the content master, and when you begin to browse around the portal and you see how much content is there, it is her and her team, along with experts from around the country, in fact, even from around the world, who have put together the content that we're making available for you. This content is for you to use freely, and we hope that you'll also add to this content. Again, many of you are already doing this and have come across and developed your own tools for making this happen more easily in healthcare. And we hope you'll share that with us, and Jennifer can assist you in making that available. Thank you, Jennifer. Lexi Robinson, would you introduce yourself, please? If you're
She's in
on.
here.
She isn't here. Okay, good. So Lexi is my assistant, and she is also a trained health coach. And you know, Lexi is. You may get emails from Lexi about coordinating issues, or if you have questions, she can also answer a number of those things. She's also going to be during the session showing about ways that we've adapted health coaching to be able to put integrative health into a routine office visit. That's always a question. How do I have enough time to do this in the 20 minutes I have to talk to a patient? We'll be showing you some of that. You know, we don't encourage it because it's not ideal to just meet with 20 minutes with a patient. That's part of the problem, not enough time. But if you have to, and if your practice does that, doesn't mean you can't do integrative health. And Lexi is going to be showing you how to adapt some of the health coaching tools to make that happen. Doug Cavaracci is on. Thank you, Doug. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Doug Cabaracchi. I'm the Deputy Director of the Samuel A. Integrative Health Programs and have been part of the project management team for this learning collaborative. And really just want to say welcome and thank you all for making a commitment of time to participate in this.
Thanks, Doug. So Doug will be behind the scenes kind of supporting the whole process and also reaching out as others want to participate in it to telling them how they can at least taste some of it there. We don't have anybody else joining during this time, but there's other groups that want to do this, and we have a waiting list for future learning collaboratives. Mike Corcoran is not on today. He is a IT specialist that is retained by FMEC, and he's the main contact for IT assistance, portal access, troubleshooting. You should have gotten his email and a video on how to access the portal and get in. However, he's going to make office hours available. I think, Denise, his first office hours will be 5 to 7 tomorrow evening. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I'll also send a Zoom link in the chat for everyone. But he is making himself available tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern time for anyone going to be available to field questions for anyone that has questions accessing the portal.
He has a day job. You can email him during the day, but it's during the evening hours that he'll get back to you, and he will make some slots open specifically if you want to talk to him, as Denise has said. So under this, I have listed the faculty, and we have a fantastic faculty, and I'd now like them to sort of introduce themselves. I've already talked about me, so let's move on and ask them to introduce themselves, tell a little bit about their background, and as you'll see, there'll be small groups of clinics assigned to each faculty member, and they'll be there to assist you through this process. So Connie, are you on? Connie is our West Coast person. We have a number of clinics that are out in the West, either West Pacific or Mountain Time. And Connie, would you show and and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Connie Earl. I see a lot of familiar names. It's a small world, this world of integrative medicine. And so I've known many of you through the years. I'm a family doc. I'm an osteopathic family doc. I work in Sonoma County, California, and I am I have a shared chief medical officer position at a federally qualified health center out here that I've worked at for a number of years. I have run our wellness center, which is an independent site at an FQHC that has we do all integrative medicine and group visits in that site, and that has grown over the years. I am also associate faculty at the UCSF Santa Rosa Family Medicine residency and teach there with in their musculoskeletal department. And I did an integrative medicine fellowship that was focused on working with the underserved. So that's been my area of interest. And have been involved in the past with I Am For Us in its beginnings. That's integrative medicine for the underserved. You might hear more about that coming up. And I've done some consulting with FQHCs also on bringing on whole person care and integrative practices as well as group visits. So a lot of what I have worked around is operationalizing these things on the ground in a clinic setting, particularly working on it with thinking about funding sources and thinking about in an underserved setting. And I also do a lot of work with interdisciplinary collaboration. So I think there's a lot of experts out there who have the information we need to do some integrative medicine and figuring out how to bring them on board in a financially sustainable way. And I'm really looking forward to learning. There's so much wisdom in this room, this virtual room that I can see. So I'm really excited to meet more of you and see what everybody creates.
Absolutely. And we're here. Why it's called a learning collaborative is because we're learning from you all. Everybody is learning, and we'll try to set it up that way. Thank you, Connie. You know, as everybody knows, the resources, social determinants, health disparities have gotten worse since the pandemic. They were already getting worse before it, but now it has really been accelerated. And so we have a number of clinic participants that are both FUHCs or are working in underserved areas. And so hope to really enhance the ability to bring integrative health and the healing determinants to them. Thank you. Andrea Gordon, would you introduce yourself, please?
Oh, sure. I don't see me. Can you see me?
I do.
Okay, good. So hi, everybody. I know some of you. Andrea Gordon, I'm at the Tufts Family Medicine Residency and have been for a long time, although I bopped around the country prior to this. I've been involved in integrative medicine since back when it was called alternative medicine, and really excited to see how it's spread over the past 20 years, but especially now that it's really being embraced by more of family medicine, because I feel like that's such a natural home for it. And that a lot of what we do is just good family medicine, but we all have been doing it differently. And I've also been involved with I Am For Us, with this idea that this is how we help people take care of themselves and work with doctors, and it doesn't have to cost $1 million. And now we're all going to use some shared tools because we've probably all been doing this in different ways. So I think this is really exciting. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Andrea. Andrea and the next faculty member, Elena Rosenbaum, have taught about the Hope Tools and the Hope Workshop at a variety of conferences, and so very experienced at that. Elena, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you. So I as well am excited to see some familiar faces today. So I'm currently in Albany. I trained in Lawrence, where I did my residency and completed a HIP fellowship. And since then, I've been here as a faculty member and as director of the integrative medicine area in my clinic. And with that, I've had the opportunity to do the osteopathic training for the residents, run an integrative health clinic, group visits, a lot of the stuff that a bunch of you on the calls have been doing over the years. I'm currently, for the last year and a half, have also been medical director at the Alliance for Better Health, which is it's a district, New York State district organization, and the goal being developing community-based interventions that address social determinants of health. So my work really revolves around both, the health determinants, the social care, as well as the other stuff that we address with integrative medicine, and I'm super excited to be with you all today.
Great. Thank you, Elena. So those four, myself included, will all be assigned. You'll be assigned to some clinics. And the plan is that they'll be able to work with these faculty members in between the monthly calls to both help troubleshoot anything, share with the small groups in terms of the learnings that are going on, and bring that back to the larger group, and to assist you in the process of moving this along. They will schedule some small group meetings as needed based on the group, and we'll show you the assignments in a minute. So last but not least is our resident expert in quality improvement, practice evaluation, and PDSA and evaluation cycles, Alan Shaughnessy. And Alan is a shared resource across the entire collaborative, and you'll be hearing from him when we get to the part of developing the evaluation processes, looking at PDSA cycles, and that ever elusive and challenging thing called cultural change within the clinic. How do you get people to actually value what's going on and make a habit out of it. This is really the goal. Alan, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Alan Shaughnessy. I'm at Tufts University as well. Been here a long time. My background's in pharmacy, although I'm fairly far afield of that now. Spent a lot of time in the evidence-based medicine world. As Wayne said, I'll be supporting, I think my role is evolving, but I think I'll be supporting the other experts in helping with problems as they develop. I'll be doing a little bit of upfront teaching to all of you about cultural change and change management, and the QI process probably will be reviewed for a lot of you. And then I'll be sort of troubleshooting. Also, in the past, I've produced some of the videos that you will see. I think you're going to see the integrative approaches to chronic pain. So I'm a little bit of jack of all trades, and if we get into some research, I'll probably be involved with that as well during this project.
Okay, thank you. Just noticed that in the chat box, some people said they've not been able to see the speakers, and I believe that has to do with the view that you might have set on your item. If not, we will go at the end of this when we especially have the break, and we'll go back and I'll stop sharing, and then that'll make it easier. So I'd like to move on to talk about the timeline, and I'm going to show you the overall general approach, and then show you where you can access a detailed timeline and curriculum that is planned for this. We'll adjust this as we get more information about the direction and the needs of each of the clinics and where they want to go in those areas. But here's the timeline as it's currently laid out. The phase one of this, and it's divided into 3 phases, is really getting set up and getting ready to go. So this is learning some of the tools, collecting both resources that we'll make available for you and that you have available in your own clinic to organize it in a way to make it easier to access by the next provider that comes along and maybe doesn't know anything about this. Build your care teams to begin the process of implementing that and develop both a plan for testing it out in the section of the clinic or new clinic that you want to do, as well as the evaluation component. So that's the first 3 months, and we'll show you sort of the dates on that in a minute. Then the mid-level, which will start after the first of the year, although we hope you'll start testing this right away, okay? As soon as we begin to learn the tools, you get it organized, you've got your initial plans made. The best way to learn is to try stuff out. That's called the PDSA cycle, and we're going to do formally 3 of those during the collaborative, but you can do them anytime. But the center part is really the execution part. It's the time when you want to begin to implement this and do it long enough and with enough patience that you really get a good feel for it, as well as begin to adjust it to make it easier to do, make it routine and regular. So that's the execution stage. It's using the tools, gathering the information, and during that time we'll be inserting special topics. And I'll show you sort of the categories of special topics that will be made available to you. They'll be made available both online and then brief summaries during the actual collaborative meetings. And we may be asking many of you who are experts in these areas if you would like to offer a special topic also to the collaborative during that period. And then towards the end, and we're starting this in June because many of you have residents and who may be cycling out in June, that's when we're looking at having presentations on what you found. Okay, so this is pulling together the information from the PDSA cycles, the execution, the evaluation component of it, and doing a presentation within the group. This is to each other, first into your small groups, then into the larger group, and to practice that so that you have a presentation available that you can then you can then present out at a national meeting if you'd like to. So that's the general phases in those areas. Here is a section of the more detailed timeline and curriculum. And I've put some of the topics over on the left-hand side, but we're going to show you where you look at this full spreadsheet and the full curriculum. But this is showing sort of the main items. First of all, each date will have a general title so that people know what it is that we're doing. There'll be a brief description of the aims of what the goal of that meeting is. This one is overview, calendar, access, welcome and introductions. Then we'll talk about some process issue for enhancing integrative health delivery. And you can look along that line, which is I think the third or fourth down, that shows you some examples in which we'll be addressing at that time. And then we're going to insert some clinical services topics also with a specific eye to helping learn how to make these types of things easy to deliver in those areas. I know many of you have incredible resources in these areas: nutrition, mind-body practices, movement, CAM treatments, etc. We want to see those, and we want to talk about how can we make those easier to access, how can we make them useful. And as we get a better assessment of what your needs are, which will start a little bit later in this meeting, then we'll adapt and adjust this in those areas. And so again, we'll show you this curriculum. We hope between now and the next meeting, you can go in and look at the full spreadsheet, and in your small groups, if you can identify particular areas that you have needs or you'd like to contribute to, we can adapt this and lay it out in those areas. Here's some key dates. Just put these up. This is going through the end of the year. Today is the launch and introductions. In 2 weeks, we're going to have an introduction to some of the process tools that a number of groups around the country have found to be very useful. We are delivering and have delivered these tools to a number of organizations around the country, including large practice networks. Collectively, we call them the Hope Note tools and integrative health services. These will be available for you. We'll introduce that to you, have some workshops that you can look offline, and then you can begin to adapt those, customize them to your site, and then build the services or organize the services that you already have to make it easier to do. In November is when Alan will come in and do the quality improvement and practice evaluation components, and he's already done an offline lecture that you can look at and that and be made available. And then we hope that you get going on some of this, you begin to try these tools out, and then we have our first sort of PDSA report out in small groups in December, before the holidays, and then we'll get some feedbacks on where to go. That's then the holiday season and the first of the year, and we'll be going into the launch section in the middle of the year, as I showed you on the previous graphic. But I want to point out June 8th, which is when we're really looking to start the process of pulling it all together, presenting it, and getting feedback on that kind of event. So, put some of these key dates in, go into the curriculum and put the key dates in. Right now, we are planning to do it at the same time each month, the second Tuesday of each month at this time, 12 to 2. If the majority of the clinics say can't do it then, we want to adjust it, etc., we'll look at adapting that. But right now we're hoping that that's far enough out that you can adjust your schedule to make that happen and participate in all the meetings. And so I'd like to now ask Denise if she would go in. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to ask her to go in and just give you an orientation to some of the resources. These resources have been pulled together from FMEC and from the Samueli Foundation. And then we're going to take a little bit of a break and we'll see and find out who you are.
Okay.
Denise?
All right. Hi, everyone. Yep. Just going to give you a brief overview of how the information is going to be shared. Most of you should have received a welcome email with a link in there. And let's see here. Can everyone see my screen okay? So the first step in the welcome email, there's a link that takes you to the request to join form. So this is the first ask for everyone. I think the majority of you who are on this call have already completed this step. Once you hit submit, the request actually goes to Mike Corcoran, who is our IT support, and he's the one that's available tomorrow evening. And he also put, I also wanted to show you just where the training videos are. But once you complete step 1, it will take you in, you'll then have access to a shared drive for members only. So completing that step, you're kind of more in a shared drive or kind of a protected community where we can share documents. And I know Jennifer Dorr has, she's actually put everything out here. So Jennifer, feel free to jump in. I know the main way that she's organizing the information is by weeks. And if you double click on the week 1, I mean, there's just a great amount of information out there for everyone to view. And I don't know if you want to add any comments, Jennifer.
That's fine. I just wanted to note it's also searchable. So if you're looking for something specific, you can just search. But we did try to put things in by week, because we think that's how you'll be looking for most of the items. But if you look at the agenda, you'll be able to have kind of hot links to access, you know, the videos and other resources that live elsewhere.
So yeah, and that's the great part, I think, with the Google Drive is you can pretty much share any type of document. It can be a Google, it can be a Microsoft, like Jennifer said, it can be a video, an image. So it's just great for, you know, the collaboration with this type of group. And just wanted to kind of show you too, when you're in the learning communities, once you complete that form, the communities tab, where there's other communities as well. And there's also, I highly recommend you visit the training. Did everyone's screen change? Can you still follow me? Okay. There are 3 training videos that Mike Corcoran put together, and just a great way to introduce you to all the functionality that takes place, you know, within this, the Google Share Drive. So another way, I just wanted to show you real quick, another way to access the drive. If you go to the Google Drive, we refer to this as the waffle. You'll have My Drive, and which is for your own unique information. And then when you have the Share Drive, that's another way to access the integrative health once you're added into that community. So that's pretty much in a nutshell how to join and how to maneuver, where to find the folders. I know Mike Corcoran, he goes into just, you know, some great detail as well, and he'll also be available tomorrow evening for anyone that has, you know, any problems or questions. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to help answer, or if you want to add them to the chat, happy to help answer.
Okay, any questions about the organization? I think once you get in there and take a look at it, it becomes a pretty self-explanatory. Denise and Jennifer have done a great job in organizing it. Jennifer, I have one question. That it says week 1, week 2, but that's based on month, right? Even though it says week 1, week 2.
Yeah, it's
actually
kind of the first
1,
class.
It's first class, week 1, week 2. It has the date on it too. So look at the date, and you'll actually see the folder is for each date on that area. So it's they're actually monthly calls. We're not having weekly calls.
Yeah, we have some calls. We have 2 a month, and some we have once a month. So yeah, I put the dates on there just so people are clear.
Great.
I had one more point I meant to mention. A lot of people might be asking, do I need to create a Gmail account? And Mike goes into this in one of his videos, but I thought it was an important point to mention. The main difference, if you want to join as a member, but you don't create a Gmail account, you're going to lose, you can be in the group, but you're not going to have access to all the functionality. So if there's a discussion thread, you're not going to be able to read all the parts of that discussion thread without, so it kind of just prevents you from being a fully engaged member. So we highly recommend that you create a Gmail account, and the FMEC will also create one for you through the use of that form, that join form. So just wanted to mention that too.
So Denise, a couple questions came in on is this available to everybody on the teams? And I believe the answer is yes, but they have to have they have to get permit, they have to be able to get access it because it is a closed group. It's not available to anybody. It has to be, you have to give them permission, right? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what I can do is add the form, the join form. I can add the link to that. So anyone on this call should be completing that form, and you are considered a member of this team. So yeah, yes to, we just need people to pretty much complete that form as a starting point.
Right.
And I'll be happy to share that in the chat box too.
That's great. Yeah. And, you know, I think Jennifer already answered. Somebody asked about the proprietary nature. We're going to ask you all to sign a community commons agreement, which means all this available would be, all this information is available. You can share it anywhere you want as long as you give people proper credit. Okay, anything else, Denise and Jennifer, or any other questions about what's there? I think, again, as you take a look at it and see it, you'll begin to do that. We have also a folder for putting information in from the group, so we hope you will contribute to this. And as your clinics move along and you find really good tools, or you already have good tools in that, we'll ask you to share them both in your small groups and with the group as a whole, and you know, learn from each other. This is just the starter set. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my screen here, make sure I get the right one. Got several of them open here. And I think we were down here with the information. One second. So thank you, Denise. Thank you, Jennifer, for you know, providing an orientation to those resources. This is a short list of examples. I know not all of you have had a chance yet to look into this, but I just wanted to show you some of how we've you know, populated this and what the information can be used for. So, for example, the working agreement, the link to my talk on how healing works, which is why this is important, and a lot of people might find useful to share with others in their clinic, especially the leadership, as to why it's important to go, is there. The overview, which next week we'll do a deep dive into some of these process tools, including ways to communicate this to patients. Patients sometimes come in and they wonder, why are you asking these questions about my lifestyle and about my behavior? Nobody else ever asked me these things. And so preparing patients can help, and there's a whole video series on that. Some of the metrics are in there, guides to financing, a payer guide, and we'll be talking about that you know, later on in the collaborative, how you put it into the EHR. Several of the groups we've worked with have inserted these tools into their EHR so that they're useful and easy to do. Patient educational tools, the Hope Visit tools, ongoing support process, and then a variety of approaches to make this easier, such as team care, group visits. There's a wonderful CME series that has been produced by the Tufts team on integrative health and chronic pain. I know many of you see patients with chronic pain. The national guidelines say that we should be using less drugs, we should be using more non-pharmacological approaches, but how do you do that, right? And this is a 4-hour CME series that is free to you all. and we hope you will watch it. You'll get credit for it. You'll get a certification afterwards, produced by the Tufts team. We're going to try to make as much of this offline available to you free, and as much of it CME credit, able to get CME credit from it. Health coaching, practice evaluation, and that type of thing. Take a look at the pocket guides when you get in there. This is a whole series of very succinct ways of looking at either a behavior or a complementary and alternative medicine component. Many providers want to know, well, what is a yoga therapist compared to a yoga class? What is our massage therapist licensed for therapeutic massage, and what does that mean? How do I find an acupuncture? What does it cost? What's the evidence in those areas? And these pocket guides are quick summaries specifically developed for providers to provide that kind of information as you begin to develop your referral network or your services network in those areas. Is it covered by insurance, for example? It's in there. Jen and her team have pulled this together. We have a lot of them in there. If there's something missing, we'd love to develop some in those areas also. So take a look at those. I think you'll find those very useful. And then finally, the personalized health coaching. Health coaching is a key skill, whether it's done in groups or individually, to add to what many clinics have, which is navigation of the system, health navigation to the system. And we'll be talking about the difference between those and how that's done. And we'll be asking you how you do that in your own clinic. So these are a sample of some of the materials that are available, and I just wanted to orient you towards that and take a look in there. Okay, well, here is a list of the participants, and I actually want to use this opportunity to take a little bit of a break. Okay, we've been sitting here for almost an hour, and now I'm going to ask you all to, to come and introduce yourself in those areas. But I wanted to put up the list of this participants the ones in the blue are those that were accepted into the Learning Collaborative, and you'll get to know them, especially those that are in your small group, and we'll show you that in a minute. And then we have two people that are going to be auditing this collaborative that are not in primary care, but are in other specialties and are looking at creating the expansion of integrative health into those specialties. So they'll be sitting in on some of these meetings, so I wanted to just let you know who they are. Alyssa McMahon is an oncologist who just finished with a 20-year career in the military and now works at the VA in Dayton, Ohio. And she is developing a set of customized tools for oncology and will be in that. Sarah Mulakoulas is a neurologist, and there is a foundation that is looking to expand integrative health into neurology, and she's helping to develop those. So those two are going to be auditing in there, as you may see them come in and out of the clinic. So what I'd like to do now is basically take a 5-minute break, if you will, and I'll leave this up, or I'll put it down. Actually, I think I'll just put it down. And if people, have questions they want to put in the chat box, we'll come back and try to answer some of those questions. And then I'll ask each of your clinics to pick a lead and have you introduce yourself briefly and talk about your clinic, why you're here, and what you hope to get out of this. So let's take a 5-minute break, if you will, and we'll come back at, what time is it? Well, I have 1 o'clock exactly, so we'll start up again around 1:05, okay? And you can stay on, you don't have to get off, but whatever you'd like, so. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Okay, let me just stop this for a minute. Let everybody get back on a bit. Somebody pointed out that University of New Mexico is not on the slide. Yeah, I made this particular slide a while back. The one we're actually going to use for helping people introduce themselves, I think, has it on there. So sorry about that. if you're not on it, or if you're misnamed on it, that we pulled this from your application, then we'll ask you all to correct it. And also Denise is going to be organizing the small groups, and I'll show you the assignments in a bit as we go through the introductions. And so we'll need to make sure that that your team members identify which clinic they're from. So as she sets up breakout groups for later, we're not doing breakout groups today, but she can get that organized and set them up ahead of time. Okay, so I think it's been 5 minutes. Hopefully you had a chance to take a deep breath. If you hadn't, let's take a deep breath, everybody. Ready? There is a meditation that I provide to my patients and also providers from a practice network in Texas that asked me to do it. We'll show you the link to that. Actually, maybe if Jennifer's still on, she can put it in the link. That starts with breathing and ends in gratitude. And gratitude breathing, as I call it, is one of the most effective ways for dealing with election stress, which we're all experiencing right now. I just did a short lecture on how to manage election stress, and I'm going to post on my blog to just help people get through the next 3 weeks, because it's certainly is not getting any easier by any means. So let's see now. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again, and I will show you how we'd like everyone to introduce themselves. I'm going to be showing a list that hopefully is accurate in terms of all of you, as well as the assignments. And oh, sorry about that, Denise. Thank you for reminding me. We'd now like to get a snapshot of who you are. And instead of sending out a questionnaire ahead of time, we thought, well, let's just use the polling component and we'll find out a little bit about how you are right now. We've got 4 basic questions, should be easy to answer. All you have to do is click whichever ones apply to your clinic. So, and this is for everybody. You don't have to decide on a particular lead in the clinic. Everybody that is on is welcome to participate in this, so we can get a real good snapshot of everybody in the entire collaborative in those areas. So it looks like it's starting. Here's the first poll question. What is your position or your role in your clinic? Maybe I should stop sharing and then that poll can do. Okay. What is your position and role in the clinic? And you can select more than one if you have filled different roles. Go ahead.
Where exactly is the polling function? I can't seem to see a poll. Was there a link? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Denise, can you help us with that? So it should be in the middle of the screen. And
It should be in the middle. I don't know if you need to change your view to see it.
I will say that sometimes it's challenging to participate in these polls if you're doing this via a phone. The screen's just not large enough to encompass it in there.
I guess that for those of you that are answering it right now, maybe you could help by letting us know how you answer it. Do you go under the bottom of the screen next to the participant is something called polls?
I think so. Instead of downloading the Zoom app, I'm doing it via browser, so I might not just be seeing it. So I need to go into Zoom, I guess. So give me a second, or whatever happens, I guess.
All right. Well, and our people, how do they vote, Denise? Do they just,
Sorry, they can select as many choices. It's set up that way. So and then
so
they submit.
so they just click it?
They just click the box.
Okay. All right. Well, we got about half the people who have answered the question, and actually all 4 questions are in this poll. So I'm not going to read them well, I will read through them, but go ahead and answer them at your leisure. The first one is what your role is in the clinic. The second one is there's 2 lists around integrative services that you already provide. The first 2 lists, so that's question 2. The second one is a list of others. The polling only allows for 10 items, so we had to divide this into 2 lists. And then the bottom question is what are you looking to get out of the Learning Collaborative? And we've given you some options there.
I know there's a few comments in the chat box that not everyone can access. So I don't know if it's their trying to access from their phone. I know sometimes that.
Yeah, so
cause difficulty.
Ashwini said she was able to answer it on her phone without any difficulties. So.
Okay.
Okay. Submit button. Yeah, there is a submit button.
It's not accessible through a browser, so it's.
All right.
Those that are having difficulty are getting it to work, so.
Zoom program on PC. Okay, as we said, this is a learning collaborative, so we're all learning. Looks like the majority of people have finished. We'll wait just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm showing 44 have completed it.
Right. And there's 64 on.
I don't know if you just want to give them another minute or.
Yeah, let's do one more minute. We have time. We're gonna this should hopefully end early. And let's do another 20, 30 seconds, something like that. Okay. All right.
I think it still gives us a good sampling.
Yeah, we've got a good sample here. So go ahead and end it, Denise, and we'll take a look at the results.
Okay. I'm sharing the results with everyone. I don't know if you want to give me a thumbs up or just let me know if you can see it.
I can see it. Everybody see it? And if you expand, at least in my browser, if you expand to the full screen, you can look at them all, and actually scroll down. I'll go through these briefly, one at a time. We've got a lot of physicians here. Looks like a good 45% are physicians, nurse practitioners, no physician's assistants. Quite a number of residents, allied health, some CAM providers, community health workers, medical assistant, and health coach. One health coach, we're going to really lean on you, whoever is the health coach, to help teach us, as we move forward. Because I said that's a key skill in this area. So a nice mix. And very heavy on physicians. I'm glad to see that as a physician myself. So let's look at question 2. That's integrative health services. And again, we divided this into 2 lists just because you can only do 10 at a time. And looks like there's quite a variety and a very nice mix of services that you already have. 60% have acupuncture. Amazing. One question I'll have for you is that how are you doing that in the COVID world? I know that we have 3 acupuncturists in our clinic. They already had a 3-month waiting list, but COVID has made the accessibility to acupuncture, at least at the beginning, down. Health coaches, a number of them, wonderful. Health navigators, food services, very important in terms of increasingly important for food services, different than nutrition, which we have down below. Meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, massage therapy, and clinical hypnosis. Great, wonderful variety. If you look at the question 3, it is the second list. And we have some that provide biofeedback, guided imagery. We'll show you some guided imagery tools that Belaruth Naprasak, one of the premier imagery psychologists in the country, has made free and available to anyone through our website. We've done a lot of work with her, and those are available to you also. Nutritional counseling, 81% with nutritional counseling. Good to hear. Physical therapy, chiropractic, 11%, OMT, 57%, behavioral medicine, a core part of what primary care needs, right? If you're going to implement high quality primary care, 64%, and other services in those areas. Now, I think an important question here, number 4, I've asked you all to talk about what do you want to get out of the collaborative. The top one here in red is better organization and delivery of integrative health services. 83% want to do that. So this is exactly what practice improvement is all about. How do you improve the way any service gets delivered through a process and practice improvement component to make it easier to happen? The easier happens, the less time you need, and the more it is able. So this will be a key focus, I think, for many of you, and we're definitely going to do that. The HOPE tools were designed specifically to try to facilitate more rapid delivery and a more and better delivery, but then it has to get organized. So we should have plenty of time to learn how that kind of organization has been developed in different clinics and share that information. It looks like the second one is better and more delivery to underserved populations, 72%. And we'll definitely have a focus on that. Several experts in that area as well as clinics that are doing that. Reduction in provider burnout. Boy, I hope we can have that. The best way to do that is to turn some of these tools on yourself to make sure you embed them in your own life. And as you'll see, as you get to know your patients better, and there's a number of tools that help to do that, to get them to know them as people, that in itself makes practice more satisfying and hopefully will have an impact on burnout. Increased volume of integrative services. Yes, how do we do this in 20 minutes? We'll be talking about that. CME and mock credit is there, and we'll build some of that into there. Improved operations in general and improved clinical outcomes for your patients, 81%. So it sounds like a lot of them want to track outcomes in their patients, so we'll address that in those areas. So anyway, so there you are. There you all are. And Denise, thank you very much for that poll. You got a nice snapshot of the group and sort of where they're going. We'll be doing some additional assessment of what your needs are in these areas and customizing that as we go. So thank you, Denise. If you want to kind of stop that sharing, and then. Now, what I would like to do is I'd like to give a chance for you all to talk. Before we begin to introduce the clinics, I don't see anything else in the chat box right now, but are there any burning questions that people have that they would like to talk about what we've gone over here before we actually have people introduce themselves? Okay. All right, so we've just done that. Here's how I'd like to do this. We've got a little bit of time to do this. I'd like to try to limit this to 2 minutes for each clinic because we have a lot of people on 17 different clinics. We're actually very good on time right now, but I want to make this whole thing to try to fit within about 30 minutes so that we can begin to wrap up. If you would identify one person to select from each team And there's two things that we'd like to hear from each clinic. One, introduce yourself and your clinic, where, what, who, where are you, what do you do, and types of patients that you see. And then second, describe what your primary goals. We just saw in the poll sort of a snapshot of what some of the goals were from the body in general, but talk about what the primary goals that are there. While this is going on, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like everyone to send Denise a name, email, and the clinic that you're with. And you can do that in the chat box, or you can send it to her just straight by email. There's her email right there. And the purpose of this is to begin to get ready for, in the next meeting, to do breakout visits so that we can get that all set up ahead of time. And in the next meeting, we'll do the individual work through breakout sessions. So here is the clinic. Did I miss the New Mexico? Nope, there it is, number 8. I thought so. Okay, here's the list of the clinics that are participating. And on the right-hand side are the faculty members that have been assigned to those clinics. So you'll get to know them. They'll do some breakout groups. They'll do some individual meetings with you in between. What I would like to do is just start at the top. And if we could begin with the Phelps Family Medicine Clinic in New York, and if you would unmute yourself, tell us a little bit about your clinic, what you want to get out of the collaborative, and then we'll go on down the list as listed here.
Hi everybody, my name is Allison. I am from Phelps Family Medicine. I'm relatively new to the program, just started in July, and we are based out of Sleepy Hollow, New York. Our residents are at Phelps Memorial Hospital, but we have our clinic just down the street at Open Door, which is an FQHC serving primarily a Hispanic population with a lot of social disparities here. We're really looking forward to kind of integrating a lifestyle medicine, integrative health. We already have a wellness program that's been started up at our Ossining site, so bringing some of those, connecting some of those folks to our clinic and being able to establish a kind of a set workflow and being able to teach our residents how to bring, talking about lifestyle medicine or integrative health, you know, how do we manage pain, teaching them alongside developing workflows that can make things a little bit smoother in our clinics.
Okay. Thank you, Allison. That's great. And let me just point out that we have been in the process of translating some of the tools that we've talked about into Spanish and to other languages. And there, by no means do we have them all translated into that. So hopefully by the end of this, we can have many more of them translated, because I know many of you have a large Hispanic population. Okay, number 2, Hunterdon Family Medicine in New Jersey.
Hi there, I'm Monica Meyer. Team Hunterdon has on the call today Dr. Patricia Croft, our residency director, Dr. Julianne Luco, our associate director, and Dr. Lori Turin Colpan. We're actually located in Flemington, New Jersey. Our geography is a little bit funny. The hospital's in Flemington, but we have 2 office sites. We are a family practice residency program that's unopposed. Our residents are split into the 2 office sites. Dr. Colpan and I are each based at one of the office sites. We currently offer the integrative medicine in residency through a partnership with University of Arizona, and our goal is to increase the application of integrative health at the offices and with our residents, as well as with our faculty who are seeing patients. Our patient mix actually ranges the entire socioeconomic spectrum, which is an interesting challenge, from completely uninsured to rather well-to-do, and provide some interesting challenges to be able to reach everybody and to provide health care for all.
Thank you very much. Welcome. As you see, the third one is Codman Square Health Center in Massachusetts.
Yes, hello, I'm Christine Farrell Riley. I'm one of the physicians at Codman Square Health Center. Codman is a federally qualified health center. It's located in Dorchester, which is one of the underserved neighborhoods of Boston. It's one of the original federally qualified health centers. It opened in 1979, and it's really grown over the years. 90% of the patients we serve are African American or Afro-Caribbean, and 95% are from a racial and or ethnic minority group. Many of them are recent immigrants from Haiti or other islands in the Caribbean, and 93% live at or below 200% of federal poverty level. So that's kind of Codman, and we have, it's a very large multi-service center. It's grown over all the years. Participating in this collaborative with us is going to be myself. I work in the urgent care. I also have been doing integrative medicine consultations in groups, along with Pam Adelstein, who is another family medicine physician who's going to be on the team. Pam also has done additional training in acupuncture, as well as doing the one-on-one consultations and integrative medicine groups. We also have 2 family practice residents who work at the health center who are going to be joining us. Unfortunately, one of Rohini Rao Murthy was on the call, but she had to leave to go see a patient. She is our 3rd-year resident who has a strong interest in meditation and yoga, and is really excited to be joining us. And then we have Meghna Srinath. She's a 2nd-year resident who's going to be working with us on the team. And one of the interns, Samuel Cohen, is also going to do his best to follow along while being an intern at the same time. On our team, we also have Elizabeth Offenberger, who's a nutritionist who does both integrated nutrition visits, where she sees patients right at the time of their primary care visit, and individual visits and groups. And we have Tamara Leroy, a social worker, clinical social worker, who works with the behavioral health department and does integrated behavioral health visits, again, seeing people at the time of their visit, doing a lot of cognitive behavioral therapies with them, trauma-informed care, and kind of assessing them, what their needs are at the time of the visit, and then referring them. So Codman has a lot of integrated services already and a little bit of integrated medicine already, and we're really excited to be expanding that. I feel like we're not reaching as many people as we could through the one-on-one consultations and the groups that we do, and I'm really excited to bring this into the normal primary care visit. The residents have been asking for this for years. They're really excited to be participating in it as well. So I'd say our goals are to, reach more patients, expand the services, the resources that we have, build community partnerships, get some virtual groups going, because with the pandemic, our integrated medicine groups have stopped, and most of the consultations have as well. Pam just started doing acupuncture again this month, in September. It was closed for a long time. And we want to improve the health outcomes for the whole community, hopefully through a ripple effect of empowering and educating the patients.
Great, thank you very much. And we understand that in busy clinics like all of you work in, schedules do change and shift, and sometimes people have to pop in and out. We will try to make the information available in multiple ways so that everybody can keep up, but we will keep moving forward so that the whole group does that. So thank you very much. So number 4, Bronx Care Health System in New York. Anybody from Bronx Care on the line? Maybe they had to step off. Just wait a minute or two, and maybe it's an unmute issue.
I'm with Bronx Care. I see that they're all together in a conference room, and I'm separate because I'm at another location. So maybe I could help. Maybe they're having trouble because it's a group thing. So, oh no, somebody's coming to do it.
Okay.
All right.
Happy to have anybody who steps up to it.
Yeah. I'll wait a second, get it to go.
Oh, there, I see them. Yeah, they're unmuted.
Okay.
Hello. They're trying to decide who's going to talk, huh? Maybe they're waiting for you to talk. I don't see anybody coming up.
Yeah, I
Go
see
ahead.
Maureen throwing her hands up. It looks like they're having technical problems there.
Maybe a difficulty. Yeah, we're unmuted on this side, but sometimes in group areas
Yeah.
like that, if it's up on the wall or something, it's difficult to get the sound to work. Well, do you want to go ahead then?
Sure, I'll give a brief description because I'm not prepared for this. But so Maureen Healy is the main leader of the Bronx Care program. At this point, Dr. Reach has put this together and has developed a team. I am the acupuncturist there. I was there pre-COVID, and then we tried to do telehealth throughout COVID, but it didn't quite work. And yeah, they're saying they're having trouble.
Having difficulty. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, why don't we move on, and if we have time at the end, we'll come back.
Okay, that's.
I have them on speaker if you want to hear them.
Oh, great.
Okay, hi, my name is Eniola Ayeni. I'm one of the providers here at our comprehensive pain clinic, which now we've successfully transitioned to an integrative pain clinic. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, there's an echo though.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'll just continue.
Carol, I think you need to
start the integrative clinic in the pain clinic, and then to slowly spread that to the rest of the family medicine department, and then finally to have good sustainability. So I'll start with the introduction. Our chairman is Dr. Reach, who is very passionate on this topic, and then our assistant or associate chairman is Dr. Jose Tiburcio. As I mentioned before, I'm an osteopathic physician, so I provide manipulation, and I also teach both the residents and the medical students osteopathic manipulative treatment. Then we have Dr. Elena Hill, who's here. She is our newest addition, but we're so happy to have her as she does yoga, and she's also a meditation instructor. She's also one of the physicians practicing in our clinic. She also has had courses in mindfulness, based stress reduction at the Henry Benson Foundation. She's very interested in group, so we're trying to see how to integrate that. And she also, even though she's an MD, offers osteopathic manipulation. She also does trigger point injections and joint injections. And then lastly, she's started doing cupping too at our clinic. Then we have our licensed acupuncturist, Ms. Kimberly Wilson, who was speaking before. She's also working with Vetslana and provides our acupuncture to our patients who love this service. Then we have our clinical, licensed clinical social worker, Miss Maureen Healy. She's right here. She does traditional psychotherapy and also mind and body and mindfulness meditation, guided imagery, and chair yoga. The patients love getting the meditation and the chair yoga with her. She's also completed a leadership program in integrative healthcare at Duke University. We also have a resident with us, Dr. Sharma Leilani. She's a first year who, prior to starting residency, works a lot with the medication assistant program, Suboxone. Then we have our practice administrator, Stephanie Taveras, who just stepped out, and she helps us with the day-to-day operations in the integrative health clinic and our family medicine clinic. And then lastly, we have Stephen Machetta, who was the program director of Grant. So we're very excited to join you all. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let me just point out, for those of you who are going to be joining in a group like Bronx Care is doing right now, you need to make sure to let Denise know that that you'll be doing that. So when she sets up the breakout rooms, she knows that that she can assign the entire group to that. And if you have other people coming in from other sites, then just have to make sure they know it's with Bronx Care or whatever the clinic is in order to do that. Okay.
I just want to say hi to all you people because I am your contact person, Andrea. So feel free to reach out.
There you go. I was just going to do that, Andrea.
Sorry.
No, it's great. Thank you, Andrea, for stepping in. Our faculty is very proactive. All right, let's move on to the Susan Samuel Integrative Center at UCI.
Hi there. So my name is Arvind Janab, and just want to first thank you, Wayne, and your team for this opportunity. I think it's wonderful, and congratulations on this launch. I'm a naturopathic doctor by trade. I'm at the Samuel Institute in University of California in Irvine. And we have a fairly large team of providers. We range from medical doctors, DOs, naturopathic doctors, acupuncturists, nutritionists, and dietitians, massage therapy, as well as we offer courses in MBSR, Tai Chi, and yoga. So we have a fairly eclectic team, and we offer a lot of different programs. But what we really wanted to do here is participate and be involved, because some of the challenges that we've faced as our team has grown have to do with the organizing ourselves and delivering care in a way that reaches more patients, but also in a way that's financially feasible. I think most of us probably have had those challenges. The other area that we're really involved in is community medicine. So we also operate a community medicine in a federally qualified health center in Santa Ana, and we offer, again, naturopathic services as well as acupuncture and nutrition. And we'd love to see, we've been doing that for 2 years, and we're really interested in seeing how we can optimize the delivery of our care, and also how to create partnerships in the community to be more effective and more financially sustainable. I've been a naturopathic doctor for 20 years, been with UCI for 5 years, and I'm especially interested in this because of my past involvement in developing integrative clinics and working in interprofessional settings to do education, research, collaborations, and we think that's a real opportunity in this group. So we hope to participate fully and gain a lot from sharing and learning from you guys. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Arvind. We're going to be tapping your brain of naturopathic tools, but we'll try to make sure not too much. We'll do it collectively.
Oh, I'm happy to share. Thank you.
William Jenkins Medical Center, please.
Hello, I'm Daphne Miller. I'm a family physician, and I think I'm one of two on this Zoom. Bonnie Lynch is the acupuncturist. We are a brand new family practice residency program that's based in a safety net FQHC clinic in Richmond, California. We actually just have our first 6 residents. Eventually, we're going to grow to 12 per class, but are delighted to be starting this program. And really the philosophy of the residency is to, from day one, think of building bridges with the community and having that actually be a large piece of what we offer as integrative medicine. So thinking of everything from gardening programs to employment to, legal resources and so on as places where health happens. On top of that, we do have, one-on-one modalities such as acupuncture and mind-body medicine. I am the lead for the Wellness Center, where we are starting to do group visits as well. We're actually launching our first one next week for perinatal depression and doing that virtually. And our real interest is in sort of in 2 places. One, really thinking of integrative medicine in all practices. So not really having it as a separate training within the curriculum, but really bringing into everything that the residents are learning. And we're interested in how to do that rather than separating it out. And the second piece really is trying to make it more seamless between structural determinants of health. We do believe that most of health happens in the environment and not in individual behaviors. And how can we start to shift the environment and make it more healthful so that our patients in turn will be more healthy? And I look forward to learning from all of you.
Great. Thank you very much, Daphne. So the People's Clinic in Austin, Texas.
Hi, can you guys see and hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So I'm Sherrod Coley. I'm a family physician at the People's Community Clinic here in Austin, Texas. We're a federally qualified health center. Serves about 20,000 patients. The the majority of which are identify as Hispanic, Latinx, about 85%. We, have sort of built, as an FQHC, one of the big challenges in Texas is that Texas did not expand Medicaid. So the vast majority of our adult medicine patients are uninsured and don't really have access to a lot of care. And so what we've, obviously have to address, as Daphne was saying, some of the unmet social needs of our patients, as well as advocating to try to change some of the policies that lead to social determinants, causing ill health in our communities. But what we've done as far as integrative health in terms of not just, on a direct clinical one-on-one basis is we've built an integrative pain management program that aligns with national guidelines, including the recent HHS best practices on pain management, which incorporates behavioral health, substance use, medical legal partnership, or acupuncture, yoga therapy, nutrition, and then group visits. And we've also really been, trying to emphasize care coordination amongst all that and case conferences. And our ultimate goal is to really take some of these concepts and what we've learned through the IPMP and expand this into the larger primary care model of our clinic. And so specifically working through our diabetes program. And so on our call and on this learning group, we have people from our IPMP program and our diabetes program as well. So we have Kelly Roberts, who's a licensed clinical social worker. We have Jessica Wansart, who's our substance use counselor. Diana Guerra, who's our nutritionist. We have Keegan Warren Clem, who's our managing attorney for our medical legal partnership. We have Elizabeth Washington, who's a nurse that manages our chronic disease and diabetes team. Shritha Reddy, who's an internist and lead physician on the diabetes team. Itzel Ochoa, another chronic disease nurse. Luisa Rivera, health educator in the chronic disease program. Billy Zachary should also be joined. He's our acupuncturist. And we'll have Karina Souffle, who is a third-year medical student at University of Texas Dell Medical School, who'll be doing evaluation for us as well. So we're really excited to be a part of this, and we look forward to learning from all of you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we do need to move along here. So please do what Sharad just did, is that introduce your team and yourself very quickly, your primary goal. And the four that we just heard from, Connie Earl will be the faculty for that. And she's out in California, and most of you are out in the West or in that direction. So hopefully you can work out your timing appropriately there. Okay, number 9, Greater Lawrence Family Medicine. Oh, I'm sorry, number 8, University of, I keep trying to skip University of Mexico.
Well, you just really.
Go ahead, University of New Mexico.
Hi, this is Lori, and I'm Lori Medina, and I'm the incoming director for the Center for Life through the University of New Mexico. And we are a long-standing integrative health clinic. And I am incoming within the next couple of weeks. I'm actually a general surgeon that's been practicing rural general surgery for most of my career prior to, and so I've left the dark side and now completed my integrative medicine board certification through the academy. And we have quite a lot on our plate. The center is looking to create a renaissance of their services. They have a very strong acupuncture, massage, and chiropractic program. However, my understanding is the physician presence has actually been quite limited recently. So we're interested in improving delivery of the medical portion of the integrative medicine, as well as, of course, obtaining greater financial stability, sustainability, and looking for funding sources to make integrative care accessible to New Mexico's very wide variety of populations between the Hispanic and the Native American presence there, as well as one of the things I've been tasked with is working with Dr. Akel to help implement integrative health within all of primary care at UNM, and he's created the whole health plan, which we will hopefully be able to integrate within the EMR and the Hope Note and things like that, and really disperse it throughout the university system, as well as into different specialty clinic areas that have approached the center, such as oncology, pain, orthopedics. But that's all. So, and Julie Sonnenberg, who was on the call earlier, she's our practice manager. And she's been there 21 years, so I'll be relying heavily on her expertise. And we will be working closely with the family practice department, and hopefully, as some of the restrictions ease, be able to identify family medicine residents, students that are interested in participating and producing some of the evaluation tools that are available. So we are definitely a work in progress.
Thank you very much, Lori. Thank you for joining. And I will not skip over New Mexico again, I hope. For those of you that don't know, David Rakel literally has written the textbook of integrative medicine, a new edition of which I think is about to come out. So she's in good hands, and hopefully we can tap him to come during this session. And now, Connie, is this is the team and the small group faculty member that will be facilitating your efforts. So thank you.
Nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to the year.
So going number 9, Greater Lawrence Family Medicine Center, please. And please do be quick, 2 minutes. I'm not timing you, but but might raise my hand if we go longer than that.
So I'm Suhani Bora. I'm from Greater Lawrence Family Health Center. And our team here, we have a few people on the call right now. We have Elizabeth Rocco, who's an integrative faculty, Cheryl Martin, our integrative fellow. I think Shalini Singh is also an integrative faculty here. We have 3 area of concentration residents who are not with us today. We hope to have our dietitian and a pharmacist as well working with us. We are in Lawrence, Massachusetts, just north of Boston. We're looking forward to being a part of this community. We have started an integrative health consult clinic and are looking for more tools and resources for that, but also to teach as a part of the residents to bring into general primary care ways to do integrative medicine. We are using the personal health inventory and hope to find new ways to use that. So thank you. We look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you very much. Oak Street Health, please, in Philadelphia.
Sorry, unmute. So I'm Risa Mandel, clinical social worker. Thank you for all you're doing. I think it will strengthen patient engagement and as a result show improved health outcomes. I see it as empowering all voices, and we really are a community center where we are. You don't even need to be a patient of ours to participate in our offerings of chair yoga, cooking demonstrations. And I'm at 47 seconds. I'm doing a lot of self-care to strengthen well-being. I'm often doing co-regulating breathing with patients who have anxiety. I'm talking a lot about nutrition, reclaiming traditional recipes, which are often whole food, plant-based, talking a lot about the importance of sleep, along with the traditional psychotherapeutic concerns.
Thank you very much, and welcome, Oak Street Health. Central Michigan University, please. Is someone from Central Michigan still on the phone or on the Zoom? A little bit of time to get off mute, and if Julianne can go on mute, if she's not from Central Michigan, we will move on then. Number 12, Middlesex Family Medicine Residency.
Hi, so my name is Agata Harabash. I'm a first-year resident here at Middlesex. We'll be working with some of the other residents in our program. We have at least 1 or 2 residents per year that complete the fellowship through Arizona, as well as our faculty mentor, Justin Caskey. And we'll try to be reaching out to the community as well as other preceptors here to get interest. So currently our programs, because at least 1 or 2 people do the fellowship, it is more individual based. We have some programs that are more integrated throughout all the practices, but we want to move things from an individual resident basis on something that can be integrated to all the visits, any resident, any faculty member. So I look forward to working with everyone and see how our projects evolve. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Cleveland Clinic, Family Medicine, please. Oh, and let me just point out that 9 through 12, Elena, I will be the mentor for that. Say hi, Elena. I think you introduced yourself.
Hi. Hi, folks.
Great. And next is Cleveland Clinic.
Hi, I'm Jessica Thomas. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up? Okay.
Yep.
I'm a PGY2 at the Cleveland Clinic. We've got a few residents on our team with each residency year represented, including Steph Dooley, PGY3, who's our chief resident. Kyle O'Brien and Lily White, both PGY1s, to kind of continue to carry this through. We've got a strong behavioral health aspect in this program. Terry Dalton is representing that. Rob Kelly and Ann Rutt. Rob Kelly completed the Integrative Medicine Fellowship and has led our Integrative Medicine track for a number of years here. And Ann Rutt will be rolling along beside him, currently working on completing that fellowship to continue to lead a really beneficial track here. And we've got Gretchen Losey, who is our nurse educator and has been doing a wonderful job of bringing lifestyle education to our patients. We've got a diverse demographic in the Cleveland area, seeing a whole range of folks from different backgrounds. And we've, like I mentioned before, we've got a really well integrated integrative medicine track for residents, which most of our residents choose in completing our residency. And we hope that with this program, we can bring that big wellness, lifestyle, whole person focus to a standard visit and integrate it really well into our residency program so that we are sending physicians out with a strong skill set to continue this practice well into their careers and hopefully continue to spread this through medicine, the medical profession as a whole. So we're looking forward, excited to be here.
Great, thank you very much. Metro Health, also from Cleveland.
Hey, neighbor Jessica. My name is Mike Raddock. I'm the Associate Program Director at the Metro Health Family Medicine Program. I also help direct a medical student clerkship for Case Western students, and we have students from NeoMed and other medical schools. I guess I'm not sure yet who our whole team will be. We have a lot of people who could work on this, but I need to answer the question maybe in the next few weeks. What is possible in the kind of under-resourced setting that we work in? And maybe Connie and other people can answer that, but we barely have enough money to have regular staffing to run clinics. Our residents work in 2 basically health centers that are like federally qualified health centers. Our patient population is quite diverse, quite vulnerable, often doesn't have access to food or housing on a regular basis. And the system to survive really pushes primary care into rather short visits. We do have wonderful behavioral health, we have social workers, we have nutritionists, we have a lot of services, but how you overcome environmental social determinants of health and then integrate integrative health into routine visits that are already so overwhelmed with pressing issues is my question for us and my goal. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you have a lot of folks who are dealing with some similar things on this team, so hopefully we can all exchange information and learn how to do that better.
Great.
Appreciate it. Number 15, University of Cincinnati MedPeds, please. Anybody from University of Cincinnati still on? Give you one chance in case you're running to the mute button. If not, we'll introduce you later. They, I know, are one of the few non-family medicine. They have a MedPeds integrative fellowship and residency there in Cincinnati, fairly strong program. Spoke with them ahead of time. So we will move on to St. Louis, the VA.
Hi guys, my name is Kelly Rudroff. I'm a nurse practitioner with the VA in St. Louis. We have a very small but mighty clinic, so we're really excited to kind of join this today. Oh, sorry. So we actually only have about 200 patients in our clinic, and we have a lot of staff. We actually have.
Sorry, I'm sorry. There's Julianne Luco. Could you mute, please, yourself? Or yeah, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So we have about 200 patients. They are all pretty chronically ill, about 65 and older on average, and we only accept patients with 2 to 3 hospitalizations in the past year. So it is a very different demographic, and we're also a bit different in that the VA does have a lot of resources. So it'll be interesting to really kind of be able to see the other clinics and figure out what's working for other people, because sometimes we also funnel things in the VA and don't look outside of the VA. So I'm really excited to do that. We also do have the whole health program here, which is our integrative program. We were a flagship site and it's been incredibly successful. So we do have a lot of integrative options for referral. We've really struggled at making them available and doing integrative in primary care visits though. So that's our main goal with doing this. Our team that'll be working directly in the groups and with this project is a licensed clinical social worker, Corliss, myself, a nurse practitioner, and our nurse Mandy Redman, who's our kind of clinic manager / coordinator. And luckily both of them are health coach trained as well. So we're very lucky to have that. But that's kind of us in a nutshell. So we look forward to this and we're excited to be a part.
Thank you. Thanks for joining and good to have you. Finally, Jamaica Hospital Medical Center. Anybody from Jamaica Hospital on the call?
Yeah, you can speak, Dr. Hi. This is Kamika Lewis. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. I don't know why our video is not working right now. I'm not sure why. But so my name's Kamika Lewis. I'm at Hospital Medical Center. We're an underserved hospital in Queens, New York. I'm the assistant program director for the family medicine program, and I'm also doing an integrative medicine fellowship through the Arizona, the Andrew Weil Institute for Integrative Medicine. And I'm also a certified mindfulness and emotional intelligence teacher through the Search Inside Yourself Leadership Institute. At Jamaica, I'm working with Dr. Alan Roth, who's the chair of family medicine and the president of the ambulatory care for Jamaica, and Dr. Gina Basello, who's the program director and vice chair of the family medicine department. We've been working on this for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years now. We have an integrative medicine and residency program where 6 of our residents and 4 of our attendings are receiving additional training in integrative medicine. And we do monthly didactics for our residency and have wellness program for our residents as well. We started last year an integrative medicine education series hospital-wide to bring in all different providers from different departments who are interested in starting integrative medicine, implementing integrative medicine in our hospital. And prior to COVID, we were really on a roll with that and hoping to start an integrative center, but COVID put all that on hold. So we're trying to get back on track with that. Our big goal is to have an integrative medicine center and a hospital network that can work together to support that. But our immediate goal right now with this collaborative is to do this through our family medicine and to treat our underserved patients there. So with that, we can use this as a pilot for learning and seeing what works and what doesn't and how best to respond. We currently have attendings who provide yoga, OMT, and integrative medicine approaches. And we're looking to start group visits, and we have patient navigators who are awesome and want to join into that with us as well. So we're hoping that this will all start through the next couple months.
Great. Thank you very much, Kamika. And thank you, everybody, for your great introductions. Sounds like we have a lot of common goals and a lot of differences and a lot of disparities in terms of healthcare delivery. And so we will try to address each of these issues and learn from each other in the best way to improve. The latter 5 folks, or 4, that were able to come on have the unfortunate situation of me being their mentor. So if you want to jump ship to some of the others, let me know. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. So I want to thank everybody. We are at time, and so just wanted to show the next meeting is the 27th of October, again from 2 to 1. I mean from 12 to 2 Eastern time. In preparation for that meeting, if you haven't already watched the following lectures, please do so. The introductory lecture, How Healing Works, and then 3 lectures, short ones, that introduce the Hope Note tools. And these are the tools that we have found that many of the networks and the clinics we've worked with have been able to use to facilitate a more streamlined way of delivering integrative health and routine visits. And we'll show you how to do that on that. So please become familiar with those, and then we'll talk a little bit about them next time. And then also log on to the portal, as you've seen, and make yourself familiar with the curriculum, the dates, the topics, and the resources that are available. If you have any questions, please contact Denise Steele. And also, she'll be in contact with you. I'll remind you to sign the Community Commons agreement so that we can share all this information and you can share it with everyone. And also, let her know who's going to be participating. We had 70 people at the peak of this, so all from the different clinics. Let them know which clinic you're in and whether you'll be in a group together or by yourself, so she can set up the breakout sessions next time. Your faculty members may also be in contact with you between now and then, to reach out, so feel free to reach out to them to interact with those. So that's the end of our effort and our introduction today. And I want to thank everybody for participating, and look forward to working you all for making healing a routine part of healthcare again. Thank you all, and have a good day.